guys, welcome to Clockwork Dandy Noodles for another breakdown and the final breakdown of The Ancient Magus Bride Season 2 Part 1. As I was recording, I noticed the announcement went out that Part 2 is airing in October. Good, because this season feels really unfinished. Glad that they decided to give us a Part 2 because I started figuring a few bits and pieces out, but I realised that it wouldn't be completed to a satisfactory point at the end of this episode. So I'm very glad that we are going to have a second season. This episode, I've got a few bits and pieces to point out that I'd like to go through. A big thank you for all your support this season. Ancient Magus Bride is a show that I do like to chill out with. I love my folklore, I love my supernatural, the fact that it's also set in the UK. Thanks for the continued support. In a week's time now, you're going to have my end of season review. I'm going to crown my top 3 anime. It is coming down to the final episodes. It's literally that tight now for me. I've got to wait for the final episodes. Thought I knew how I was going to end everything, and I thought I knew where I was going. Then things happened. This week has been the deciding week almost. A lot of shakedowns have happened. I was about to give it to one show and it kind of plummeted a little bit. It will all be covered in that final video, so make sure you tune in. I'm also giving out anime awards. Can't wait to crown a few of these because I think you guys might have a little chuckle as well. Very excited for that. Do make sure you're subscribed. We have finally hit 700. Thank you guys so much for making the Noodle Bowl what it is. Really gives me hope that we can actually start carving the community into something. I am waiting for the 1000 mark to set up some websites, some proper websites. I just want to make sure we hit that 1k mark first because that's also when YouTube starts recognizing us a little bit. I'm planning it. I think we're going to have a couple of websites. I think we might start to do some proper content. I might also be able to have a members only area so I can actually do some stuff without having to worry about editing too much and give you some bits and pieces behind the scenes. Curious about what I'm planning to do. That's coming your way. We've got a whole new season coming our way now, and I've got some horror coming your way. We're also going to go through 12 first episodes of anime that I already rank highly. Some of these shows I haven't seen for a decade, so we're going to go and see how they hold up. Do I still remember them being that awesome? Pointing out why these shows are just amazing and why these are very good episode number 1s. Hopefully getting you into some new anime. Let's talk about the final episode because there were quite a few rug pull moments. Cleverly done because I thought I was 100% on how the episode was going to go. The plant moment started to get a few hints. I initially thought it was if they had seen somebody die, but it is a lot darker. If you've killed somebody, you are able to see this. Obviously, we know about Chisei. Now, Philomira, I prophesized that she has killed people. She's killed the Webster. She took part in that murder because she was probably forced to do so. Rion was also there on the 3 who could see it. Who has Rion killed? What is his secret? There's also a lot this week between Rion and Philomira where he's angry at her, but he also seems more frustrated because he wants to get to know her, or he seems to want to listen. So he's frustrated because she won't tell him anything. There's a possibility that he could come around and actually be a very nice friend for Philomira if we can get over a few things, which the ending might have made that possible because we can finally see what's going on. Did cool the fact that Alice would go trick-or-treating. Just wasn't expecting her to kick him in the shins. I was expecting her to maybe ask for some treat. We do get some very nice lighting, and you know me, I gush over lighting all the time. Nice lighting from above, nice bit of diffusion as well. I really like the way that this scene portrays. It's also just a nice moment where both of them try to be a little bit open. I think Renfred goes as far as saying that his father also protected him like he is protecting her, but he doesn't want to talk anymore, and I respect this. Sadly, Alice doesn't seem to want to leave it just at that. There are some things that people just don't want to talk about, or it's not the right time, or you're entitled to your privacy. So I would probably allow Renfred to have his privacy, but Alice is going to do some digging for us, and that will probably come out maybe next season. But let's talk about the fact there are sorcerers bound to the Waste Tower, which is quite scary. I do feel like I'd like a bit of info from that. From what I gathered, they put their failed experiments or the offcuts of the experimentations and magic, and there's now sorcerers who are bound to the tower, which is really kind of creepy. There's also the idea that because it's Halloween, things are even more weirder and powerful down here. There's a lot of nice reserves. The crystals are very, very pretty. This whole kind of section I thought was a big rug pull. It's a very nice fake out. I'm very happy it's a fake out because I could foresee where I thought it was going to go. It's always refreshing when you're wrong. I presume that this guy was actually bad working along with Philomira. I am completely wrong. He has his own motives. Obviously, he doesn't do something that's good, but he also does back off. So he ends up not being the villain that I portrayed him to be. Let's talk about Seth as well, really being hurt by Lucy's words as she runs away. I felt this so bad because it was really clear that he really cared. Clear that he wanted to protect her. She was hurt by him leaving. So there's been a big old misunderstanding in this situation where she blames herself for him being kicked out. But he sees it as almost a blessing. Because he ran away and didn't answer her, it actually furthered the fuel that she believed that he blamed her and hated her. But it's the fact that he actually cares about her, and he saw being kicked away from the family as freedom. He was allowed to do his own thing, but at the same time you can see why he's sad, because his whole family abandoned him because he wasn't good enough. So you can see why he was upset. She ended up feeling very, very alone. She lost her brother who actually understood her. With the murder of her entire family and the loss of her spiders, it was just another kick in the face where she felt really, really alone. Both of them do care for one another. So much stress has gone on that they've actually not been able to sort things out. It's all just gotten worse and worse over time, where they're trying to communicate but they're just not able to. The next moment that I really like is the flip with Chisei to the personality of Joseph. It all just started with that smile, and as soon as that smile appeared, I got those shivers. I was like, oh, that's not nice. And it smoothly transitions into Joseph being there, protecting Chisei in a sense. I didn't quite catch his proper name, but he wanted to make her his. She obviously already has made that deal with Joseph and the dragon and the curse. So it's like a bit crowded at the moment, and she belongs to obviously Elias. I love the moment that instead of where you feel like the character should be pushing the character away, it's the fact that she pulls him in with that smile, and I'm like, oh, that is creepy, but such a nice little moment. I liked it. It was such a nice fake out, and it's refreshing. So I really do appreciate it, because at the same time, he could have just been a villain like I predicted, but he's actually just a sorcerer who's bound to the tower. He even eventually backs off. He gives her bag back. This is what it means if you can see this. They all get out. The only bad thing that really kind of happens is with Zoe. They're backed into a corner by more sorcerers down there. Once again, Zoe is able to stand up for themselves, and that is quite a nice little moment too. Now, I love this next section. The next section when you've got Lucy and Alice. The angle, the lighting on this entire scene is really, really clever. Now, Alice has the light behind her on her side of the hallway. She's just come from a place of love. You've come from a place where you're loved by Renfred. Renfred is treating you like a daughter. He cares for you, so it's not a bad place. So you're coming from a place of light, and she's heading into a darker place. Whilst you've got Lucy, who's running from a dark place because of this argument that's happened. The two converge literally in the middle, where they've literally, the worlds have collided, and we're about to exchange the directions. Lucy then walks into the light, where we have the next sequence, which is really, really nice. Alice has gone into the darkness to go do a bit of digging around, which I really don't want her to do. The fake out rug pull, honestly, I enjoyed it. I expected bad things to happen. It is a relief that they didn't go down a very obvious route. So hats off to you there. The next sequence though, Seth Lucy, such a really nice sequence. I love the fact that he knew it was her under the cloak. He goes to almost take it, and then he realises that crying, and he allows her to cry in peace without removing it, gives her a bit of dignity and lets her get it out your system without being seen by anybody. And we have that hug. That hug was such a nice moment as well, because Seth ends up revealing that he's upset because he's just a failure, and he ended up being rejected by the family, so that really hurt him. But he also saw it as a freedom. Lucy and Seth really did need this. If I can take away anything from today's episode, it's these two making up, and I'm so happy that these two are able to have this talk, because they really needed to get things off their chest. Lucy is pretty much, as she says, I've been alone in the world, and she gets off her chest that she just missed her brother, because he actually got her. He understood her as a person. That's when we see that she wants revenge. She ended up losing her spiders, she ended up losing her brother, she ended up losing her family. Naturally wants to have revenge, find out about her drive, what made her come to the college in the first place, what is motivating her to do what it is that she's doing. I am very glad that Seth didn't talk her out of it, because he says that he doesn't hold revenge like she does, but at the same time he is respecting the fact that Lucy was there. Lucy went through it in a more personal manner. I can't talk you out of it. I'm not going to talk you out of it, but I am going to tell you that I worry about you. And a big theme of this first part has been characters worrying about other people, and Elias and Chisei worrying about one another, mainly Elias worrying about Chisei. You've got Renfred who's worrying about Alice, and Alice is kind of doing it back. You've now got these two where they worry about one another, and it's all because they care, which is a nice little theme that's been going on. He doesn't want revenge, but at the same time he worries about her because he cares about her. Now, the last chunk, when we have Philomira's grandmother being a sassy with the headmaster. The headmaster is awesome. So happy that we finally get to see this sequence, because at one point I thought they were the same character. They are not the same character. The headmaster is awesome. I have mega respects for somebody who stands up to a bully. The grandma's treatment of Philomira out in the open for the entire lot to hear why Philomira is the way she is, because the way that she is spoken down to, the way she is bullied, she doesn't mention the fact that it's because she's failed her mission or anything, so she's got no use for her being there, and she just doesn't care about how Philomira feels. To her, Philomira is just a tool. She doesn't care about her happiness, she doesn't care about her education, horrible attitude in general, and I'm very glad that the tutors stand up for the students. Isaac. Now, Isaac I've been starting to be a bit sus of. We haven't really seen him with the hat down, or if I have, I haven't taken too much notice of it. He was watching Philomira in the tower. I'm starting to get weird sus with him. I don't know why, if it's good or bad. It could just be good, and I've seen this anime now do quite a few flips where I think one thing and I think the other. Initially I got bad vibes of him pulling her away, but I think it's because he wants to protect her. I think it's because he maybe had a hint that he knew the situation, actually probably does care for her, and I'm hoping that he's just putting her away because he wants to say, no, actually don't listen to your grandma, because that's not true and you're actually your own person. So I'm hoping that's actually a good thing. Philomira's grandmother at the end, the moment with her against the headmaster, it's a really cool sequence because we get to see the cats in their fullest, and I like cats in general, so I'm very happy to see these guys turning into these protective force, the barrier. We've had like these issues in school, we're now going to seal everything, and it allows them to keep Philomira in the school for now, and it also allows them to try cutting the grandmother out. Whether it's strong enough to keep her out, I'm not sure. The grandmother is the reason why Lucy is in a bad state, why there's been attacks in the school. She is the one who is culpable. She hasn't finished the job. I'm a bit worried because at the end she does state that, oh, it's fine, I've got time. It means that she's plotting something for part 2. At least we've got a lot of people on the side that are powerful enough, because even Elias says that I wasn't needed. These guys did a good enough job. It's very nice. I like the sequence where the cats turn into shadows. Them being shadows allows them to be everywhere at once, and with them being guardians of the house, does feel like they can move along the shadows quite nicely, and it allows them to see and hear everything at the same time. I like cats, guys. I just really appreciate the fact that it's cats, and I love the fact that the headmaster has respect for them, because she's like, well, they don't serve me, we work together, they're a team, they're equals, they do what they presume is the best thing to do, which I really like. The last bit I want to talk about is the blue haired lady. Whether she was under a spell or not, it seems to have been broken because the owl has gone. She says she's Philomira's something. I'm probably going to say she's a relation of some sort. Maybe she's the mum, maybe she's a sister, or maybe she's just a guardian of sorts. It does feel like something might have come out of the woodwork here. I'm hoping it's going to be a case where she actually cares for Philomira and she's been under a spell or something the whole time. We will have to wait for part 2. Part 2 is going to be a season away. Probably breaking it down on the channel, depends how I feel. You guys will have to let me know if you want me to pick up season 2 as well. Part 1 for me was solid. It was definitely solid, but there wasn't too much to write home about for me. I thought we had some nice character developments. Again, it looked really nice. I thought there was a lot of nice compositions going on, but I did think it was a little bit on the okay side. I would probably give it a 7.9-ish. I would probably keep it shy of the 8s. I wouldn't put it in the 8s because I've been putting a lot of different shows in the 8s. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's a nice continuation. I just don't think it's been very active, and I think maybe part 2 is probably going to bring that. It does feel like we've only really had half a season, so it's unfair to really judge it halfway through. But so far, it's solid. It's just a very quiet arc in general, but it does seem like we're setting a few things up. We will have to see where we go. I'm very excited to see what happens in part 2. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining me on the journey to break this one down. I hope you're looking after yourselves and that I hopefully get to see you in my end of season review and hopefully next season as well. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I will see you guys again soon. Bye bye, guys.